Hi, and welcome to the Douglas On My Mind show. I'm Blondell Thomas, the City of Douglas Public Information Manager. It's a new year, and we had some accomplishments in 2020, and we're also looking forward to some projects that are coming up in 2021. But we'll be right back with the Mayor and the City Manager of the City of Douglas and discuss some of those issues that are coming up and some of the things that we accomplished in 2020. We'll see you in a few. Welcome back to the Douglas On My Mind show. I am here now with Mayor Tony Paulk, a very familiar face to the citizens of the City of Douglas. And we are going to talk a little bit about some of the accomplishments that the City of Douglas was able to achieve in 2020, even though, you know, we were facing the pandemic and had to shut down for a little while and different things like that. But Mayor Paulk, tell us about possibly what was one of the biggest highlights or accomplishment that we had for 2020?
Well, I think that one of the major highlights that the City of Douglas and Coffee County experienced is that once again our leadership team is all on the same page, singing the same song. Mm-hmm. We've met a number of times throughout the year to discuss what was going on about the pandemic, and then of course every Friday we have a teleconference that's called the Community Huddle.
Right.
And I think leadership speaks volume to the success of the City of Douglas and Coffee County. But physically, I would say the biggest thing that has happened last year was the groundbreaking at the Douglas Square, the tax allocation district, or the location of the new Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a really big accomplishment. I know there were a lot of people very happy to see Chick-fil-A there, and there is some more groundwork going on there, getting ready for some of the other businesses that are going to open now.
Correct. So hopefully within the next 30 to 60 days, we will have another groundbreaking for another business to locate at Douglas Square. It's been very exciting. Charlie is in conversation with the developers about new opportunities for new businesses to locate there. I think putting Chick-fil-A there really got us started off in the right direction, and it has really generated some buzz for that area.
Oh yeah, yeah. That place was lined around and around, and then of course Taco Bell decided, you know, to tear down and rebuild, and that created a little bit of a traffic jam there on Peterson Avenue for a little while.
Well, I know that as a matter of fact, my wife and I drove past the Taco Bell building yesterday, and I said, that's a beautiful building.
It is.
I mean, over at Taco Bell, they put up a very attractive looking building. And that's one of the things that I'm noticing about the construction going on. The buildings that are going up are aesthetically pleasing. Right,
right. Now, the city, we've been talking about it for several years now, about all these different projects that the City of Douglas has. And even though, again, I'll say even though we had the COVID-19 situation, the City of Douglas was able to complete a couple of those building projects.
Correct. If you've noticed, one of the major things that has happened in the City Hall area, all the utilities and public works has actually moved out where the maintenance building is over on the bypass. So we were able to get the Douglas Utility Building, the Public Works Building, and we're working on the perimeter sports complex, and the city manager, Mr. Charlie Davis, is going to go into a little bit more detail about those projects.
Right.
But as the City of Douglas is transitioning into the new buildings, as a matter of fact, the City of Douglas is going to be closed at the end of of the month because we got to relocate City Hall,
Right.
Because we're getting ready to start on the renovations in the building project for City Hall also.
Right, and from what I've understood from the drawings I've seen, boy, City Hall is going to shine whenever it gets built.
Oh, yes. And that's one of the things we want to be able, as the mayor of the city of Douglas and with our commissioners and the city manager and staff, want to put a quality building in place.
Right.
Just like with the sports complex, want to put a quality building in place that when a citizen comes there and say, this is our city hall, it looks like the success that the city of Douglas has enjoyed.
Right, right. Now, we're talking about buildings that people can actually see, you know, but the city, we were able to do quite a few infrastructural projects last year, and for us to be able to do those infrastructure projects, we also looked at getting grants and things like that to help with water improvement and things.
Well, one of the things that the city of Douglas and the city manager and staff in general, they do everything that they can to find grants and leverage as little taxpayers' dollars against state and federal funds. And as you said, some of the things that were accomplished that you can't see underneath, as far as lift stations, water and sewer projects, getting ready to do some paving down at the very south end of Gaskin Avenue, that area. Also looking at the drainage problem over there in Fleetwood. So there's a lot of things that the city of Douglas was able to accomplish that can't really be seen, that is impactful for the next 50 to 75 years.
Right, and I know just from being involved just a little bit on the grant side, I had to help and go out and knock on doors and ask people to answer just a few questions.
Correct.
You know, and what those questionnaires do is help us be able to get those
Exactly.
grants.
One of the things is with the sports complex that's under construction now is Unity Park. The city of Douglas had to take another look at Unity Park. Just completed filing for a grant to help the city of Douglas do some renovations over at Unity Park.
Right.
We still think that in the city of Douglas, Unity Park can be a vibrant area for that community, and that also serves as a community park for the residents within walking distance. It's still a very active community, so we just want to bring it up to date.
Right, and I mean, still, you have your neighborhood kids that aren't going to go out to the sports complex, or if they're at home and mom and dad are at work during the summer, they need somewhere to go and play ball or whatever.
And one of the things that, you know, we try to make sure that the city of Douglas is interlaced with the community and making sure that our youth have locations that are safe to go play and just go hang out. I know over the last couple of weeks I've had the opportunity to be driving past the park, sort of like at the airport. And every time I pass by there are actually people out there eating. I did not know that people frequent that park as much. But one of the things I also want to stick in there as far as the community is Unison. The city of Douglas partnered with Unison to have a behavioral health building that is going to be built. So the city of Douglas is going to be able for the first time to have a physical location that is properly staffed to handle not only our youth that may have some mental crisis, but also our adults. Instead of trying to find a location in Waycross or surrounding county, now in the city of Douglas, partnering with Unison and the city of Douglas being able to ascertain a grant makes that come to reality. So I think that the partnerships that the city of Douglas is able to build, nurture, and maintain keeps us vibrant.
Right. Absolutely. Now, just talking about this whole community ideal, the police department, since Chief Edmonston took over, he said one of his biggest things that he wanted to do, one of his biggest goals was to start a community policing department, or not really community policing, let me reword that, more of a community outreach. Correct. Is what he wanted to do. So this in 2020, they started the Pact program. Tell us a little bit about that.
The Pact program is just an opportunity. As a matter of fact, I believe last Thursday, there was one held at the Sanctuary on Waldrop Avenue. It's just an opportunity for our citizens to sit down with the police, the chief, and let's talk about community issues.
Right.
Let's see what the real issue is so that it's being properly diagnosed and it can be properly addressed. I think that the Douglas Police Department is taking a very active approach by getting out into the community. Prior to the pandemic, had coffee with a cop.
Right.
It had pizza with a cop. And the locations were at the City Pool, I believe Holt's Bakery, and even Northcutt's Soul Food up at the George Washington Carver. It gave the citizens the opportunity to interact with the police department, which I feel that is monumental, that the police department is actually going into the community. And as soon as everybody take this vaccine, we'll be able to get back to normal, you know. And that's one of the major things that the city is going through now is the vaccination of our citizens. Right now, Coffee Regional is doing vaccinations on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Central Square, but you must have an appointment. And the first phase is plus 65, first responders, healthcare workers, and individuals that work at the long-term care facilities. So it's just a lot of things going on. And again, that's another partnership that the city of Douglas has with the Southeast Public Health.
Now, one good thing and one thing that I thought was really was a major accomplishment was the city of Douglas's ability to immediately adapt to the change, or as soon as possible we adapted to the change, and we started pushing out information. You yourself and along with the Douglas Mayor's Youth Council came up with a few things, and then you also just the communication part was really a good effort.
One of the things that I learned very early in the military, communication matters, and what a leader says matters. The leader has the ability to set the tone in a building or the industry or even in the city of Douglas. We were taking a very active approach dealing with the pandemic. At some point, I believe it was in March, Governor Kemp started issuing executive orders, which basically suspended the local authority to have hands-on approach with dealing with the pandemic. Our Mayor's Youth Council jumped in, just did a fabulous job promoting Mask Up, trying to encourage our citizens to wear masks. It's just, that's a great group of young adults. I'm looking forward to what else they're going to be able to accomplish.
And they actually even did like an infomercial or you know, something. It was really good. They did really well, and you know, just going through the steps like wash your hands, sanitize, you know, did things like that. So
they did a really great job to a point that they made me jealous that they didn't call me and put me in, because I mean, it was really impressive. And that's one of the things I try to get the citizens of Douglas to understand is that our youth, they see the world differently, and we shouldn't stop their innovation and their vision and their enthusiasm. Last year, I didn't know what Cash App was, but now I know Cash App. I like Cash App. So I just think that with our Mayor's Youth Council, it's just unfortunate that the pandemic has sort of curtailed some of the involvements. They haven't had the opportunity to go to Atlanta and meet their counterparts or go to Savannah and even down to Amelia Island, because I really wanted them to tour the energy plant. So hopefully we'll get this under control with everybody getting vaccinated. As soon as it's my time,
vaccine.
I'm going. I'm
yes.
trying to make sure that we get everybody down there to be vaccinated, because the only way that we're really going to break this is taking personal responsibility by wearing our mask and then getting vaccinated.
Right. Now, I just have to say this too. Whenever the governor started issuing his executive orders, a lot of people were like, well, you know, why isn't the city doing this, or why isn't the city doing that? And you know, you actually had to say, look, I can't go against
Correct.
what the governor is asking me to do.
Because I think that, as I said earlier, I think that leadership sets the tone. Governor Kemp sets the tone for the state of Georgia. And once he declared a state of emergency, that actually gives him a lot of authority to do things without consulting any legislators. And one of the things is, I want to tell all the citizens to obey the law, but I also have to obey the law too.
That's right.
And that's one of the things I try to get citizens to understand. Yes, it's called an executive order, but that is the law operating environment that Governor Kemp felt was best for the state of Georgia. He has relaxed it some, and some cities are taking the initiative and doing a little bit more. The leadership team in Douglas, we think that getting the vaccine here and getting it here hopefully in an abundance, and encouraging our citizens to continue to mask up and to get vaccinated. If you have grandparents or your parents are above age 65, God knows we need to get them there, and we need to get them vaccinated.
Yes, that's the truth. That is true. Well, Mayor, we've talked about 2020. Now let's talk a little bit about the future in 2021. What would you like to see going on?
Well, 2020 makes me a little hesitant. I don't know what's coming around the corner. But I'll say this right here, and I'll go back to the leadership team for the city of Douglas and Coffee County, and I'm gonna keep saying leadership team because it just covers a very broad spectrum. Too many partners with the city of Douglas and the Coffee County Commission to list and to say, and I don't want to omit anyone, but I think 2020, right now we're in the process of talking to two industries that are looking to locate here.
That's good news.
Yeah, the city manager has been working diligently with possibility of an aviation school, along with Mr. Don Brooks, who's very passionate about this. Just think about this. There's a child in Douglas right now that could be in the 4th or 5th grade or middle school and could actually go and learn to be a pilot here in Douglas, Georgia. And just think about that. It's not as far-fetched as it may seem. During World War II, that facility trained over 10,000 pilots. So that's what I'm really excited about as far as 2021. And I'm looking at Douglas being in a position to take advantage of opportunities that were unplanned. And that's making sure we have the right infrastructure and making sure that our industrial parks are what they call shovel ready. That means that the roads are there, the gutter, water and sewer, electric, gas, all those things are there. And just wanting to make sure that the city of Douglas continues to be that shining light of that city on a hill. But it takes sound leadership making tough decisions. So in 2021, I think that the city of Douglas, although we're small, we're the city that not only believes in itself, but we believe in our leadership team, we believe in our citizens, and our citizens continue to ask for things. And we continue to try to meet those expectations. And that's what I'm looking forward to in 2021.
Yes, because really without the citizens, some of that, that little push or that driving force behind our leaders may not be there. I mean, you've got to have somebody pushing to do a little extra.
And that's one of the things I try to express to anybody in a leadership position. The number one thing that you can do as a leader is listen. I always go back to Mr. John Lee Roper the first time I served as the mayor. He said, Mayor, if you sit down and shut up, I can teach you something.
My goodness. That sounds
basically, basically, sometimes you have to listen. Even with the tax allocation district, our citizens wanted the Hobby Lobby. They wanted the Starbucks. They wanted the Chick-fil-A. They wanted these things. So we had to launch a campaign to have the citizens informed, and they went to the polls really, really nice. I think it
Right.
passed with like a 95+%. So just listening to the citizens gives us the opportunity to position the city of Douglas to be successful.
Right. All right, Mayor. Well, I appreciate you being here today, and if you want to add a little something.
Well,
you're
only
more
thing
than
I
welcome
want to say
to.
is this right here, and this is because my wife told me to say this,
Well, good.
is that my wife is a registered nurse, been a registered nurse forever, and she wants our elderly to get vaccinated. She wants everybody to get vaccinated. We want to make sure that individuals know that the vaccination is here in Douglas and Coffee County. As I said, the health department, you can call it the health department, the hospital is working in tandem to get everybody vaccinated. So I think vaccination is important, but also I need everybody to understand that this is just the first phase. As I said earlier,
Right.
you must be age 65. So if you're 65, you need to start smiling and dialing, trying to get in line to take the vaccination. If your grandparents or your parents are 65 and above, I know I've been on to my dad and my mom and my stepfather. My Aunt Patricia went and got vaccinated. She's all happy about that. Our first responders, our police and our firefighters, our physicians at the hospital, just about everybody that works at the hospital or a long care term facility, they're not confined or in a restraint of the age 65.
Right.
So I just want, the only way we're going to break this vaccination is to wear our mask. And I would say to break this pandemic is to wear our mask and to get vaccinated. And that's about it. Okay?
All right. Well,
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for being here, and of course, we'll always gladly have you back on to talk to the citizens some more.
Great. Thank you. Look forward to it.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Hi, and welcome back to the Douglas on My Mind show. I am here now with Mr. Charlie Davis, our great city manager. And the mayor talked a little bit in the last segment about some of our building projects, but Charlie is going to be here to give us a little more in-depth discussion and you know, get us on the right track with where things are going. So thank you for being here, Charlie.
Oh, always glad to be here.
All right. Well, let's start off with, Charlie, what projects have been completed so far?
Well, let me start off by saying that you know, every community goes through cycles of building or using or planning. Right now, we're in one of the busiest building seasons in our community, probably since, I'd say probably since the 60s.
Right.
We have a lot of the projects, municipal complexes that the citizens use. Some are direct use, some are indirect use, but and I'll throw some of the projects out and we'll come back and talk about it individually. Okay. You know, we've got public utilities building, which includes your electric, gas, and water, your public works, which includes your streets, your stormwater, your building maintenance, grounds maintenance. We're dealing with the premier sports complex. We're dealing with the city hall renovations. We're dealing with the Miracle League field. We're dealing with the new pool. And finally, the completion of the rails and trails. Right. Your question was which projects had been completed. First, public utilities, which included the electric, gas, water, and sewer. That project was completed, and we just say the last part of July, back during the summer. The public works building was completed basically at the same time. So the public works and public utilities was completed at the end of the summer this year.
Right, right. And it's a really nice building, and people may wonder, why did we need a new building for public works or for the utilities departments? But I think if they would have took a tour of what they were actually having to work in before, and those buildings, it was pretty bad. They were in pretty bad shape.
Most of our buildings were built in the 50s and 60s.
Okay, that explains it.
And matter of fact, the electric department was in a train depot that was built probably back at the turn of the century.
Right.
And so like with most of these buildings, they're not wired for today's technology, electrical outlet usage, and general comfort. So most of the citizens should be pleased that we have not spent a lot of money over the years on government buildings.
Right.
But it is like the City Hall, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. The old part was built in 1959, and the new part was built in 1979. And basically nothing has been done, nothing to those buildings since then.
Right. Well, one project that I'm kind of familiar with is the Premier Sports Complex, only because my daughter, you know, I'm interested in it because she's young.
Yeah.
I mean, some people may not be that interested in it, but it's really a great project, and it's going to do a lot for our youth sports, I believe, and probably help out whenever the kids move on up into the high school age and all. But what is the current stage of the Premier Sports Complex? And, you know, just kind of generic questions. When should it be completed, and what will actually be there?
The current project that's underway is the Premier Sports Complex. It started probably a month ago,
Right.
a month and a half ago, first part of December. If you go out there, what we used to refer to as Old Fairgrounds, right across from Jardine Stadium, it is well underway. It should be completed, I'm going to say early summer.
Right.
And they're located there will be 3 football fields, 4 baseball fields, 3 paved parking lots. You know, on the south end of Jardine Stadium has always been a grass parking lot. There'll be 2 parking lots paved there. And in between one of the football fields on the south side of Van Davis Road and to the west of it, which is the baseball complex, there'll be a parking lot there.
Okay.
And so this will be the first phase. In our next blocks, we'll be coming back with some soccer fields and some dog parks and stuff for that area out there. But you will have a state-of-the-art baseball and football complex.
Right.
And currently, you know, our sports have grown in a lot of areas. And so we have football people playing on soccer fields and soccer people playing on baseball fields. And so now we'll be able to designate and isolate those sports to their appropriate fields. And it's be a whole new field for the Jardine Huckabee complex out there.
Oh, wow, that's a lot. And if you haven't been out there, I can say this: whenever I went, I was asking questions, and I said, "You mean you're talking about on top of the hill?" And somebody looked at me and said, "Well, there's not a hill out there anymore. It's pretty much, yeah, it's turning into something else."
There's a major amount of dirt that has been moved from one location to the next, leveling and balancing and bringing those fields to life. So you won't recognize it if you haven't been out there.
Right, and me being a short person, you almost need a ladder to get a complete view of everything that's going on. It's really an expansive, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of land.
One of the first things that probably people noticed if they rode on the Van Davis Road, it used to be, you know, you come in off of 441 and you took a hard right, then took a hard left to the stadium.
Right.
Well, the county joined with us, and the county moved the road over, and so we straightened that road out, and so there's no, you know, right and left turn on that. Now we have a roundabout there.
Right.
And so that gave us room then to be able to put 2 football fields in the areas where the 2 curves used to be. And so I always want to throw a shout out to the county for helping us accomplish this project.
Right, because again, it takes partners to get some of these jobs completed, that's for sure.
In anything that we do, and the mayor alluded to it in a previous segment, we have a lot of great working relationships with the city, the county, the school board, the college, the hospital, the EDA, and as all these things come together, because it really takes a total team effort.
Now, our next project, I think that is going to begin, will be City Hall's renovations. When should we see something going on at City Hall?
Well, the City Hall project has begun. We're in the scramble now to be moving out. Starting the next 2 weeks, City Hall will be leaving the current City Halls and going in different directions. This is an 18-month building project, so wherever the offices are locate to, they will be there for the next year and a half. for example, the city manager's office and HR will be locating to the old gas department there on, I think it's in the 300 block of East Bryan Street.
Right.
Finance will be moving to the old electrical department, which is there right behind the current City Hall, but it's located on South Pearl, 300 block of South Pearl.
The city clerk's office and customer
City clerk,
service.
customer care, and all that will be moving to the old SunTrust building, which is in the 800 block of South Peterson,
Right.
in between F&B South and what now we refer to as Save-A-Lot. So we'll be in that bank there.
Okay.
And then code enforcement, building inspection, animal control will be moving to the Ashley Slater house. They're on the Ashley Street, 200 block, East Ashley.
Right. So probably beginning the 1st of February, if people need to pay their utility bill, they will need to go to the old SunTrust Bank building on
Correct.
800
The
Peterson
two
Avenue.
main departments that citizens are used to using on a daily basis will either be customer care or payment
Right.
center, which will be located there at SunTrust, and then the code enforcement, building inspection, which will be located at Ashley Slater House. It'll be a little different for customers because right now we're all centrally located, so we can do instant gratification
Right.
between payment center and building inspections and code enforcement. Now you'll have to be split up between two locations. Sometimes there's a temporary, not instant gratification
Right.
in order to achieve a bigger and better gratification later on when we have a more enhanced city hall in 18
Right.
months.
And we will all be housed in the new city hall, so people, or most of us will be there, so people won't have to go to 2 different places then.
That's the current
Is that right?
plans after today.
Yeah, current plans. All right, and as always, those plans can change. You never
Yes.
know. Well, after City Hall, or possibly before City Hall is complete, tell us, when may we start seeing some ground moving over at the Davis Wade area, where the Miracle Field and the new swimming pool will be located?
At the Davis Wade, we started a few years back. We rehabbed all the tennis courts and brought those up to standards where they should be. Now the next phase will be the new pool, along with the Miracle Field,
Okay.
which was our former Commissioner Roper's passion, was to see and for people who are not familiar with the Miracle League, it's an organization for persons of special needs to be able to have a park they can go to and
Right.
play baseball or whatever it may be. Because if you think about it, somebody in a wheelchair is not able to play on a clay field
Right.
because they can't roll around in the grass and clay. So the Miracle League is an organization that we'll be a member of that brings attention to persons of needs in order to facilitate some recreational. And so the field that people play on is called the Miracle Field, which comes from the Miracle League, and we have to meet their standards and all of the things that go along with being a member of the Miracle League. And at the same place, also located the current pool. And so both of these projects will be going on simultaneously,
Okay.
starting around the June-ish area,
Okay.
maybe late May, first part of June. We'll be starting the construction of the new pool and the Miracle Field, and both of those will take about 12 months
Okay.
to complete. So hopefully by the late spring, early summer of 2022, we'll have both the Miracle Field and the new pool online.
Oh, yay. And I know a lot of the people who are on the swim team, because Douglas does have a champion swim team, they will be definitely looking forward to that new swimming pool.
Yeah, I hope, it's because the pool serves its purpose that we currently have.
Right.
But it's not the best pool. And so the swim team is able to swim very well in an old pool, and I'm hoping when they get this new pool, they'll even speed them up and swim them faster, So,
Yep. They'll be like fish in there.
So one of the things, if people doesn't track sports, Douglas Recreation Department's swim team, Stingrays, have had championship, and I don't have those numbers in front of me, but we have been champions for like the last 15 years.
It's been a while.
So we have a very successful swim program.
Okay. Are there any other projects coming up that we haven't talked about, or, are there any not secret plans going on at Douglas Square, or anything that you can talk to us about?
One of the projects, just wanted to finish up with the city building, is also the Rails for Trail.
Okay.
The old rail line, it's been part of it done here and part of it done there. We will now have a completed trail, and I'm going to put this in quotation marks, from the old high school to the new high school, which now the new high school was 25 years old, and the old high school has been done away with, because that's where the Douglas Square is now located. But when we first started it, that's what we always said, we'll start the trail here at the old high school and go to the new high school.
Right.
So it's taken us 20, 25 years to finish that plan.
But we are getting it done.
But we are getting it done, and so now we'll have a complete pedestrian bicycle path through the middle of town from two major locations.
Okay.
You referenced the tax allocation district, also known as the Douglas Square. Chick-fil-A was the first thing to locate there, and basically overnight they put their building up and was serving chicken. And Jesus, I refer to it as a Jesus chicken, and people love that chicken. And so starting in February, matter of fact, we have a groundbreaking on February 3rd at 10 o'clock there at the Douglas Square. Hobby Lobby will start construction at that time along with Starbucks.
Oh, yay.
Both of those will be up and running late May, early June, Starbucks and Hobby Lobby. And then in June, we'll start the construction on Marshall's, Five Below, a nail salon, and another one that we just in the final phases of signing last week that we can't announce at this time, but it's another big box that a lot of people will be happy with.
Okay.
And so all that'll start in June. And most of that will be up and running sometimes in the early part of 2022.
Okay.
And then we're working on another announcement that hopefully we'll be able to share sometimes in late May, early March, that the community has been asking for and wanting. But at this time, I'm not at liberty to discuss those details. And we have two more that'll be locating there. And so by the end of the summer, basically, we'll have that entire block of land filled up with new retail. And one of the things that's happening is what we call the halo effect from that. The mayor referenced it a while ago. A lot of people are up in their game now. The Wendy's remodeled, the Taco Bell built a new location on an existing lot that they had. There's some other ones that are coming based on some of this other development that's occurring. So the halo effect now is occurring.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So there's a lot of retail coming to town, and it's retail that's currently not in competition with our local retailers.
That's good.
And so that just brings more people to town because we're becoming more of a regional player.
Right.
So you got your local dollars, and then you bring in an outside dollar, so that helps the overall tax base. A couple other projects that the community will see, and we got all these acronyms, TAP programs, TIA programs. All these are dealing with transportation dollars. Some are based on taxes, some are based on some allocations of LMIG and some other programs. But TAP and TIA both will be dealing with sidewalks.
Okay.
We're fixing to start undergoing a major sidewalk program, probably the most sidewalks either repaired or laid since the 60s.
Right. We had a sidewalk survey done a few months ago, and I don't know if that's, something that came out of fruition from it or if it was in the works beforehand, but.
Well, both of them. It confirmed what we was already doing. It also put on some future lists of some other sidewalks that we'll be dealing with. The main areas on this first round of concentration will be Baker Highway from Peterson east, past Evergreen and Lupo Lane and all those areas. And that's complete rehabbing and laying sidewalks where there's not currently sidewalks. Okay. There will be sidewalks built on Lupo Lane that has never been there. We'll be doing South Gaskin from the railroad track, repairing all those sidewalks. And then when you get to the Walmart area where there is no sidewalks, that'll be have sidewalks on down to Pinecrest. Okay. And so that'll be a complete street there. And there's a couple other sidewalk areas that we'll be repairing. And so it's, most of this is around $2 million worth of sidewalks on this first phase. And then as I was talking about sidewalk, as it ends there, Pinecrest, we also will be starting here shortly a CDBG project, CDBG 19, for the Redwood and Hollywood area. All those streets in there that are still dirt, those will be paved with drainage improvements there. So there's a lot of moving parts right now with construction.
And I believe that was supposed to start today. I know I went last week and took some
Right.
pictures of all that equipment out there, and our guys were out there marking lines and all. And that's one thing is when you see the constructions and everything like that taking place, people really need to be aware that there are people walking around, and they just need, please don't run over our employees. Basically, please don't. Whether they're our employees, state, or whoever, please don't run over them.
And with the building projects, CDBG 18 just completed around the Unity Park area. CDBG 19 is starting there where we're referring to the Redwood and Elmwood area, Hollywood area. CDBG 20 will be the mental health facility that the mayor spoke of. Matter of fact, we're getting a visionary award next week concerning that. The city and the county and Unison all partnered to expand the current mental health that is here. And with all the good things that's going on, there are people in our community that need that services that Unison offers. And through community block grants that we refer to as CDBGs, we're able to take part of that and partner with them to build a new facility which will help segregate the adults from the children, and then segregate male and female, because there's different needs, different times for different people.
And I can say with the COVID-19 deaths and sicknesses and quarantining and things like that, it definitely take a toll on somebody's mental state. And kids being at home out of school, and so the city and other areas really do need the actual facilities for treating mental illness, or just if you're just going through a tough time dealing with grief or whatever. I mean, we need it.
Well, just even before COVID, there was a need for mental health. Matter of fact, we had started this prior to the outbreak of the COVID-19.
Right.
And even one of the biggest things that I see as a person that's sitting back and watching people, the psychological effect, because everybody's got it, from political parties to churches to even in your own house. There's different views on different things concerning it. And so there's a lot of stress that comes along with the COVID-19, from the finances of it to the treatment of it, just a lot of psychological issues that's coming out of this.
Right, so that's a really good program. Well, is there anything else that you want to discuss or share with the citizens about any of these projects?
Just from what we've talked about here, and I know there's always comments about local government. Your local government is working hard for you. We're bringing a lot of things to the table, whether we're either the direct responsible for it or indirect supporter of something. City of Douglas is there. The other thing big for our community, and the mayor alluded to it in his previous section, was dealing with the COVID.
Right.
Please take this serious. Now there's extremes to everything. You can go to the extreme one side that said there's nothing to this virus, to it's almost scared to be alive because I may catch the virus. So there's a moderation in between that. Wearing the mask. The bad thing about this, a lot of people has either politicized this.
Right.
Mask work. Now you can go to the extremes with this also. Please wear your mask. Please use the 6-foot rule. Even if it's your own kin folks, your own church people, even the same circles that you travel in, wear your mask, because it can, because every time somebody doesn't get sick, it doesn't put a strain on our resources. I just wrote some numbers down just before coming on TV here. Just as across the state of Georgia right now, our bed space for inpatient usage, all beds in the state of Georgia, we're at 85% bed capacity. So that means we got 15% capacity left for regular hospitalization.
Right.
ICUs across the state of Georgia, we're at 92% fill rate, and then ventilators, we're at 45% capacity.
Wow.
So. And most of the ventilators is due to COVID.
Right.
Now there's some of them that's regular medical issues, but most of these are due to the expanded ventilators that we received from the federal government at the beginning of the year. Now when it comes to the vaccine, I know I've heard all kind of stuff from the vaccines. Don't want to get into some of the stuff that I've heard. Just like with your colds, and I mean with your flus, your pneumonias, your tetanus shots, please take the vaccine. Some of the people I've heard that said they're not going to take it are some of the ones in the groups that are needing the vaccine.
They probably need it the most.
Currently in the state of Georgia, there's 1,700 providers of the vaccine. The biggest ones are your hospitals and your public healths, but there's also a lot of the pharmacies giving it out. You can go to the public health website and you can click on and find those sites. For Douglas, the two main ones right now is public health and the Coffee Regional Hospital. Both of those have separate numbers, and we can share that slide with you. It's on our website. You can click on and go to it. The lines are busy.
They are.
And they're overwhelmed with phone calls coming in, so you just have to keep calling them back. We're right now currently vaccinating the Tier 1 Alpha group, which, you know, they have all these different tiers. They meet certain criteria, 65 and older, healthcare workers, frontline responders, first responders, healthcare frontline workers. So that's the Tier 1 Alphas, and then it goes on through the different tiers there. Currently, to date, as of yesterday, we've had inoculated in the state of Georgia 423,000 citizens, and so we're well underway to vaccination. So the next 2 to 3 months will be the most critical. The vaccine is rolling out. You know, we have a lot of holidays. You know, we've gone through the Thanksgiving and Christmas surge. This past week was Martin Luther King. We've got Valentine's coming up. We have you know, just a lot of things where people get together, and then spring's coming. You know, one of the things talking about psychologically, people's tired of this of the virus, and so spring's coming, and people want to get out, and they want to play ball, they're wanting to go on vacations, they're wanting to go to the beach.
Spring break,
and all these things, and so that's why we need people. If you're going to do these things, get the vaccine, wear your mask. Because we are in the short rows if people will take the vaccines and wear their mask and help with the transmittal of the virus.
Right. Well, I appreciate you being here today, Charlie, and of course, you know, you're always welcome to come back on. I know you really like coming on and talking to everyone on the TV, and we do appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today, and we'll see you again next